Hiya, and thank you so much for taking the time to actually watch my video. This video is all about social media and how I believe it's having a really negative effect, especially on obviously, if you like, our teenagers. Um, I've obviously got people close to me, and obviously I observe them and see, if you like, how much time they're spending on social media, and I honestly believe that this is it's having a massive effect on us. I think it's something that that the government really should obviously look at. I know it might be hard to police, it might be hard to control, but it's definitely something that we need to keep an eye on because so much time is being wasted on it. When I talk about social media, obviously the big social media platforms, and whilst I understand that people obviously want to keep up to date with what's going on in the world, different news events, obviously their friends and that, I think these people have got to realise that it's taking such a massive lump out of their day. Now, to me, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I'm big on personal development. I think this is something that we've got to try and make our children consider. It's something that we've got to make them aware of. It might be a difficult conversation to have, but it's definitely one that I've had with my, with my children. I've said to them like, can we perhaps like, how much time are you spending on it? What are you doing on it? Because when you actually look into it and you actually find out what they're actually doing, it's very little. That to me is the biggest shame of it. Sometimes I say, you're spending more time arranging where you're going than actually doing it. In the olden days, I sound like I'm really old, but in the olden days, like when I was young, you'd make an arrangement to meet a friend, and you'd go and meet that friend, and that was it. You didn't have to have this massive, text messaging and you know, um, video chat and Snapchat. To me, it all just seems like a massive. I wouldn't say it's a waste of time completely because obviously it's still a fantastic thing to be able to talk to your friends like that, and I can understand that. But I just think that our youngsters are spending so much time of it, and I think it's having a detrimental effect on them. It's the same as television. I mean, I watch TV. I ain't gonna say I don't watch TV. I do. But again, the amount of time that people were spending watching television when they could be perhaps putting their time to better use. Um, I suppose it's a personal. It's just my opinion. It ain't. I ain't saying I'm right or wrong. I just think that sometimes you see youngsters who perhaps ain't getting on as well as what you think they could get on. It might be that you believe they've got a lot more potential, a lot more capability, and the time constraints on their life are actually holding them back. But is it time, or are they just not using their time wisely? To me, I think it's the latter. I think a lot of people now they're filling their days with nonsense. They're filling their days with stuff that don't matter. They're taking 2 hours to get ready before they go out. They're just not making good use of their time. Now I'm probably going to get people messaging me saying that obviously it's their life and they should use it how they want to use it. And to some degree, I actually think that's right because obviously we've all got to be our own person. We can't have people controlling us what we do to a massive degree. And I'm not talking about doing that. I'm just saying that we should perhaps be talking to our children and making them aware of the amount of time that they're spending on these different platforms and to what you believe they're capable of. If you believe your children or your friend or someone is capable of more, then perhaps we should be telling them that and saying to them, like, you're spending an awful lot of time on social media, and what are you doing on there? Because I really do believe, you've only got to look at the amount of hours. If all the hours that people spend on social media, and they was talking about, and like they're talking a load of nonsense, how that time could be being put to better use. If you've seen another one of my videos, recently my daughter, she was thinking about doing a degree course, and she was talking to me about how long. Well, I actually asked her. I said to her, what does the syllabus involved? Over what time? If you do it full time, if you do it part time, and she was talking about, I think part time. She was thinking about doing like psychology. She was saying that part time was something like 16 hours a week. And she was saying to me, Dad, do you think I could do you think I could do that? And I said to her, well, 16 hours a week. I said, why not? I said, I could do that if I really wanted to. If you really wanted to do something, you could do it. 16 hours, okay, it is. Obviously, you wouldn't want to sit in a chair staring at a wall for 16 hours not doing nothing, because it is a long time. But what I'm trying to get at is, it's not a long time if you want to do it. And I said to her, more importantly at the time, I said to her, how much time are you spending doing your makeup? How much time are you spending watching telly? Like watching the Big Bang Theory? How much time are you spending on Facebook? How much time are you spending on Snapchat? If you add all this time up, it's hours. Hours and hours and hours. And all these hours that our children and that people are wasting could be spent in a much more productive way. Now, I suppose I should have said at the start that this only goes if you want to achieve more. But obviously, the kids are saying they perhaps haven't got time to do it. But that's how, again, we need to step in as parents and say, look, you can do this. This is achievable. You know, why do you think it's not achievable? Why are you doubting yourself? We have to perhaps give them, encouragement. Try and get them, just try and get them off of social media, and perhaps into a bit, look at what I'm looking at now, personal development, because it can really help you grow as a person. Your whole knowledge base. Like I said, I was chatting to my daughter earlier. We was watching a program on telly. It was all to do with like science, like this, science that hasn't, that's been discovered, and they're looking at ways of, firing these different beams of light into each other to see what had happened. And I was saying to her, it's the unknown, but it's only the unknown at the moment. I said, these people that are doing this research, these are using this massive machine that runs underground. I said to her, these people are on the, they're like breaking new science. They're making new discoveries every day. But I said to her, they're people just like you and me. They wasn't born that way. They've obviously looked. They've obviously got people above them, their family, that he's guiding them in the right direction. He's making them, telling them they can achieve. Okay, in that scenario, obviously the people that are doing that, they might have had a massive love for science, obviously when they was at school, and they've obviously been led in that direction, and that's how they've achieved greatness. But I'm talking about things that people could be doing now to make their lives more enriched, to make them feel more, you know, so they feel like they've actually achieved more. Because for me, nothing makes me feel better like achieving something. Nothing, because that to me is, it's like it's earned gratification. You've been rewarded because you've done well at something, and I honestly believe that that's what a lot of our children lack. Yeah, sometimes it's because of opportunity, sometimes it's because of their upbringing, but whatever the reason, whatever reason, that they're in the situation that they're in, it might be that they've got a good job. It might be that they've got a job that they like, but it might be that they've spoken to you and said about thought about perhaps doing something else which required a little bit more savvy, like a little bit more upstairs, and they've doubted their self, or they're worried about their commitment, if you like. But we need to be really pushing them in that direction, pushing them towards making them believe more in themselves, because that's where it all starts. Like I say, if you see my other videos, I'm like, I've been watching loads of different videos on her personal development. I watch Tony Robbins. There's a guy called Stephen James, Project Life Mastery. I watch most of his videos, and most of his videos start with the same sort of um, they begin the same way. It all begins with an idea. It all begins with a a desire, and then obviously a desire, and then it leads to action, which then hopefully leads to a positive result. Now, anyone can do this. Yeah, I ain't saying that anyone can obviously be obviously on the edge, on the leading edge of science, but I'm on about improvement. Yeah, you can improve just by watching a video. You can watch a video on something that you're interested in, and that's going to make you improve. It could be a video on anything. I say to my daughter daily, I said to her, why don't you? Because she's still like, she's just come out of a job, and she's still undecided what to do. And I said to her, there's so many courses now that you can do online. You've got sites like Udemy where you can go on. That's Udemy, where you can go on and actually do a course online. You ain't even got to go to college. Education has never made it. Education has never been so easy to access. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Start using a bit more of your time to educate yourself, which will hopefully lead you in a more prosperous direction. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's all about doing things, obviously, to earn more money, but not just that. It's also about doing things that you enjoy, things that that you aspire to. It's like me with YouTube. I haven't got a massive amount of people watching me at the minute, but it's something I enjoy. It's something that I believe one day. Who knows? But that's all part of it. That's all part of it. Life. It's having a little bit of belief in what you're doing. And like I say at the start of this video, social media, it's taking a massive amount of time away from us. So a lot of people, they're not obtaining their true potential. The human brain is a um, it's a very complicated um, organ obviously in our body, but it's so underused. It's so underused. We use every other muscle in our body, but for some reason, when it gets to the brain, a lot of people seem to switch off. They seem to switch off, and of course that obviously leads to us not obviously not doing the things that we could do. And if you believe in the studies that are coming out now from the different institutes on science to do with brain function, um, they reckon that the least amount of time we're actually using our brain, the more our brain is deteriorating. So that in itself is a good reason to um, obviously learn more and start putting this organ that you've been blessed with to good use. Because what could be worse? Obviously I'm 50. I'm 51 now, and you've got all these horrible illnesses, Alzheimer's, these different things, and if there's anything we can do that can actually hold back this onslaught, if you like, then obviously, from my way of thinking, it is something worth doing. But yeah, like I say, just ending this video, just try and make your children, or make anyone that you think spending loads of time on it, ask them what they're doing on there. There's some people, I know people, they talk about how their kids are on it like 2 or 3 hours a day. I mean, 2 or 3 hours a day, that's 21 hours a week. You could go and do a degree. You could get a degree in that time. You know what I mean? But no, they'd sooner waste it on finding out what their mates wearing out and things like. To me, and I don't want you to think I'm a killjoy because I'm not. But you know, we've got to put it in perspective. There's a time for work. I always go back to the old Mars bar advert. I say to my daughter this morning about it. We was talking about, the life and how we've got to obviously, if you like, put our lives, make our day into different segments. And I said to her, I said, you get up, you work, you go to work if you can. Like sometimes I can't work because of the weather, but then I try and do work indoors. I said to her, then you do what you want to do, and then you sleep. And I used to say to her, the old advert, a miles a day helps you work, rest and play. And it's so true. If all of a sudden we're doing loads of work and no rest and no play, or loads of play and no work and no rest, that's where our lives go wrong. We need to be doing it in proportion. Yeah? If you work and you earn money and you do well, then in my eyes, you deserve to have joy and play. And then obviously follows rest. But if you're trying to do more of one and less of the other, it ain't going to work. I've tried it. I've been the one that was always going to work and chasing and chasing and chasing. It don't work. You've got to be somewhere, like my dad used to say to me years ago, you've got to be somewhere in the middle. If you're somewhere in the middle, he said, you'll be doing all right. If you're the one, it's like money. My dad, I know I'm switching subjects here a little bit, but it's like money. My dad used to say to me, you don't want to be the person that when he earns his money, he saves every single penny and he doesn't enjoy it. He said, but equally, you don't want to be the one that goes out and blows the lot. And he used to say to me, if you earn £10, try and save £1. Yeah, try and put some to aside, obviously to obviously try and make it grow. Well, this is the same with everything in life. I believe that this is the right approach for every single thing we do in life. We need to do it in proportion, but we also need to think about where we're spending our time. What are we spending our time on? If we're wasting it with all this crap, all this crap, then you're wasting your life because you're you're not you're not reaching your full potential. If you've seen in my other videos, you will know there's not a day goes by where I don't try and learn something. Before I've done this video, I've been watching other videos for my own personal development. I ain't been sat on Facebook or Twitter, tweeting out. To me, it just don't make sense. And my brother a while ago, I can remember him, telling me about it, saying to me about, there's football players and they're tweeting what they're having for breakfast. And like he said, who gives a monkeys what they're having for breakfast? If you've got to read about what a footballer's having for breakfast, you've obviously got a sad life. You know what I mean? You should be thinking about your own breakfast and obviously what nutritional breakfast you're eating, not worrying about what some. He said to me, it don't make sense. We've got to start making more use of our time. Yeah? Because like I've just done a video all about time, and I said in that video, we don't know how much of it we've got left. So why would we waste it looking at Facebook and looking at all these other sites? Start using your time. Try and get your children to use their time more for their own personal development, for their own education. Even if you say to them, look, an hour a day. If they're doing 4 hours a day, say to them, just cut it down to 3. Just try and make them be aware of the time that they're on there and obviously what they could be doing and where they could be heading if they was doing something more constructive. Because if you put it to them like that, then some of them, not all of them, some of them will the penny will drop. You know what I mean? They'll think, oh, hold on a minute, my dad's right. He's, I am spending loads of time on this. Or it might be that your son's doing loads of gaming. And, sometimes I used to say to my son, rather than sitting there playing the games, try and think of a game. Try and think of an idea for a game. And then obviously, then perhaps find out how you can learn about how you can make the game. You just got to try and get this um, over to them, to see if you can get them to change their day, change their time spent doing these different activities, to obviously do it in a more, to spend some of their time in a more productive way. And I think as a parent, um, obviously you love your children and you want what's best for them. So surely that is a step in the right direction. And if you tell them why you're telling them that, it's a very difficult argument for them to win if they're not really doing anything with their lives, but they're spending all their time on social media. You know what I mean? How could they have any sort of defence, if you like? You just got to say to them, come on now. You've got to start using your time a little bit more wisely and start putting it into action. Yeah, and so let's start seeing some results. And then when you do start seeing results, make sure you tell them out, that you're proud of them, and that that you knew they could do it, and that now they have done it, they can do more. I'm going to end my video there. I hope it's been a little bit. I hope it's made you think about social media. I hope it's made you think about the amount of time that people spend on it, because it really is. I know people, they're spending half their day on it, and doing what? Doing what? They're not doing anything. They're just sitting there, living. As far as I'm concerned, they're sitting there looking at other people. Sometimes I say to my daughter, "You're sitting there reading about other people's lives, but you're not. You've got to start living your own. You're looking what such and such is doing and what someone else has done, but all the time you're doing that, you're not bettering your own life. You're not living your own life. You've got to get this across to them, because hopefully they'll take notice." Gonna end my video there. I know I just said that, but this time I actually am gonna end it. Please, if you have watched, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel. I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video, and also if you could share it to social media. Um, or should you? No, at least if they watch it, it might make people who are on social media think a little bit about what they're doing. But hopefully they watch my video to the end before they click off. Thank you.